Good evening. I don't know if anybody noticed this the other day, but apparently the great city of Cincinnati had the honor of hosting the 2015 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. And one of the things that always stands out to me heading into the game is what Major League Baseball does, and that is giving fans the opportunity to vote what players they want to see in the game. And one of the things that stood out to me this year was on social media platforms. I always, like, for example, on Twitter, I would see something along the lines like a hashtag that said something like, is this player All-Star game worthy? So pretty much throughout the leading up to the game, they were pretty much asking whether a certain player was worthy or not of playing in a baseball game. I bring this up because as Christians, we are determined one day to reach heaven. We are trying to, in a sense, become worthy of getting into heaven. The only difference between us and reaching heaven, between a baseball player reaching the All-Star game and us getting to heaven is people don't vote up to 35 times a day for us to get in. I mean, we only have our Father in heaven determines that for us. Tonight, I would like to discuss 3 characteristics that will help us become worthy of getting into heaven, and these 3 include putting on Christ in baptism, living faithfully, and being prepared. For anyone to enter heaven, one must be baptized for the remission of his or her sins. In John chapter 3, Jesus was speaking with a man named Nicodemus. In verse 4, Nicodemus asked Jesus, "How can a man be born when they are old?" Nicodemus asked. "Surely they cannot enter a second time into their mother's womb to be born." In verse 5, it says, "And Jesus answered, Truly, truly, I say to you, unless one is born of the water and the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God." Essentially, Jesus is telling Nicodemus that he must be baptized in order to enter the kingdom of God, kingdom of God or heaven. While baptism is necessary, to enter heaven, it is only the first step. Once someone has been baptized, it is necessary to live faithfully. In Revelation chapter 2, Jesus had a message for the church in Smyrna. Towards the end of verse 10, it says, "Be faithful even to the point of death, and I will give you life as your victor's crown." This justifies that baptism alone is not sufficient to enter heaven. Not only do we need to have faithfulness, but we need to display a positive image to others. In order to do this, my final point I will discuss tonight comes into play, which is being prepared. We need to be prepared because we are told to be ready for the Son of Man is coming at an unexpected hour, as indicated in Matthew chapter 24, verse 44. One parable that discusses the importance of being prepared is the parable of the 10 virgins, which is in Matthew chapter 25 and takes place between verse 1 and verse 13. This parable was about 10 virgins who went to meet the bridegroom. Five who were wise were prepared to meet the bridegroom, while the 5 who were unwise were not prepared. The wise were prepared because they had oil for their lamps, and the unwise did not have oil. The bridegroom arrived at midnight and was wise, and the wise were ready to enter the wedding banquet. Since the unwise did not have oil in their lamps, they had to go buy more oil. Because of this, they were not able to enter the wedding banquet. Being prepared is crucial for any situation. For example, like in my situation, a public speaker must be prepared to speak about what they're going to speak about. So that's why I typically like to have mine typed out. Or in other situations like athletic coaches, they need to prepare their teams to be successful, to experience success. As Christians, we need to be prepared for Christ's return. As indicated earlier, we do not know when this will happen, so we need to be ready. We can do this by applying the characteristics I discussed tonight, and these were putting on Christ in baptism, living faithfully, and being prepared. Why is it considered an honor to be voted into any type of all-star game? The greatest honor would be to enter the kingdom of heaven. If you'd like to be baptized tonight and take the first step to become worthy to enter heaven, or if you need the prayers of the church for some pressing spiritual need, please come forward as we stand and sing this song of invitation.